John and Tom stand tall, discussing corruption, answering the call. Osceola's whispers, the truth we unveil. With each podcast episode, we set sail. Unsanctioned voices, we won't be ignored. Digging through lies, we strike a chord. Unsanctioned truth, we're here for the fight. John and Tom shining through the night. With every debate, we're raising the stakes, taking down villains for justice's sake. Politicians trembling, they know we're awake. With facts on our side, we're here to shake. From local elections to making it clear, together we rise, let's spread the fear. Shining the light, the darkness won't last. In Osceola's depths, we're breaking the cast. Unsanctioned truth, we're here for the fight. John and Tom shining through the night. With every debate, we're raising the stakes, taking down villains for justice's sake. Shining the light, the darkness won't last. In Osceola's depths, we're breaking the cast. Unsanctioned truth, we're here for the fight. John and Tom shining through the night. With every debate, we're raising the stakes, taking down villains for justice's sake. So tune in each week, don't miss the show. John and Tom will help you know.
I want to issue a friendly warning to New Yorkers considering moving to Florida in light of recent events. First, we are digging a moat along Florida's border and putting alligators in it to separate ourselves from the others. Second, we're implementing a 1% entry tax, where your money will be put towards Florida's infrastructure. Third, if you're tired of the protesters in New York, you can plow right through them here. Next, and I know this is a culture shock, but we don't have porn in our elementary school libraries. And finally, we have no state income tax. But since you're generous liberals, feel free to donate whatever you like to Florida. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
I'm not letting it go.
A special city council meeting was held today, and they decided that they needed to add extra security for a Pride Month event happening this Saturday called Proud in the Cloud. And taxpayers are going to be on the hook for more security.
1 week earlier.
I'm beside myself on this. I'm deeply disappointed in you. When you drag us through the mud with lies, it's nothing personal, and you betrayed us. Drag us through the mud with lies.
To not have something move forward to where you put your name on it and you actually vote for it, that's undemocratic.
It's funny that you apologize and then you go into all that and drag us through the mud. It's nothing personal. You ran us all through the mud. I'm gonna tell you, Sean, you opened up a can of worms on this. It's nothing personal.
I absolutely believe it could have been handled differently, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm pissed. I'm not letting it go. I believe we were hoodwinked.
1 week later.
We're not moving backwards in any way. We actually sponsored this LGBTQ event. We've given them a great discount. When you have 2,000 to 4,000 people out there.
2,000 to 4,000 people at the event.
2,000 to 4,000 people out there.
So it's for 2,000 to 4,000 people.
Saying there's 4,000 people.
See to 2,000 to 4,000 people.
And taxpayers are going to be on the hook for more security.
2,000 to 4,000 people out there.
Be 2,000 to 4,000 people at the event.
2,000 to 4,000 people out there, and
It's for 2,000, 4,000.
saying there's 4,000 people.
This event, although we may seem it's a little controversial, it's going to be huge. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be the most awesome event on the ranch, and I look forward to participating. And yes, I'll be there. I yield back to you, Mayor.
And taxpayers are going to be on the hook for more security.
More unnecessary security, John. Like it stated in the video, only 1,000 to 1,500 tops showed up to that event. So they basically wasted taxpayer money off the assumption that there was going to be 2,000 to 4,000 people out there when there was nowhere near that, or no reason to ever believe that there was going to be that many people out there. If you look at history and you look at last year's event, 2024, there was at best 1,000 to 1,500 people there. So you would base it off history, not off of an assumption. I don't know where these 2,000 to 4,000 people would come from, but we'll get more into that in the second half of the show. I don't want to drag this out into a big thing right here at the top of the show. But
apparently last year it was much easier for these two guys to hide in the crowd at the Proud in the Cloud than it was this year. Of course, this year they went in drag. So I guess maybe I don't know. Who knows if they were recognized or not?
They both showed up at the event, but a cute little video before that was courtesy of Dave Rubin, Governor DeSantis. That was AI, of course, and yeah, some of the things in that were a little bit. I mean, I'm sure we still have a few areas in Florida, counties where we have the sexualized books hanging around, even though they're not allowed.
I mean, I'm sure that there's people that are trying to hide these things and keep them hidden. There's a lot of things. Well, we have a big show for you tonight. We got what did pass in the legislature, what was vetoed. We have an update from our politicians throughout the state. We have an update from way down south in Key West. We have an update from the Northeast part of our state. So there's all kinds of stuff that we have going on. This is Unsanctioned Florida. We have a great show for you. We're going to try to make it go as quickly as possible. So stick with us. Please like and share the show. We appreciate you watching. Those two videos that you saw, one AI, as Tom just said, the other, we wish it was AI, but it's not. It actually happened. And they're just wasting, hand over fist, wasting taxpayer money, having special meetings. Apparently, someone was offended that somebody else didn't support the gay pride event enough. Another person was offended that they were forced to vote on the record and declare whether they supported the gay pride event or not. It was just, but nonetheless, they found ways to still waste a ton of taxpayer dollars in the process.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later on in the show, as Tom just said. Right now, we're going to say a quick prayer and then get to the show. Lord, these are some important times that we're living in, and these are incredibly important times that we're living in. This is a great opportunity for the United States to reassume its position on the moral high ground. And that begins not at the federal level, not in Washington, D.C., but it's something that needs to begin right here at home in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our cities, our towns, and our counties. And we know that if we can make those places good, if we can make those places worthy of your support, then we know that our state and our country will follow. So let that happen, Lord. Inspire your Americans, your American citizens, your people to do well for each other here in this town, here across the state of Florida, and throughout our nation. In your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
All right, Tom, let's get to it.
Let's start off with the state. Yeah, absolutely. So, John, yes, the big news, Alligator Alcatraz is open. And here's a little bit about Alligator Alcatraz.
The newly opened Alligator Alcatraz tonight is set to receive its first immigrant detainees. Now, earlier today, Florida's emergency management director gave a tour and said 1,000 migrants were expected there today. It's not clear if they have arrived yet tonight. CBS News' Larry Seawood is live outside the detention center in the Everglades. And Larry, bring us up to speed on what's happening right now.
Jim, we saw 4 vans, white, tinted windows, unmarked, drive in. They have not left. Not sure if those contained anyone, detainees or not. But what has happened here, a new sign right in front of the gates there. You can see the crew just hanging it. It is blue and white. It says Alligator Alcatraz. Earlier today, the emergency management director for the state there giving a news crew a tour, saying that they were weather ready when it comes to potential hurricane evacuations. He minced no words.
Below the clouds, beyond new signs pointing the way to Alligator Alcatraz and its tents for migrants detained by immigration enforcement. Kevin Guthrie, Florida Emergency Management Director, waded through questions from a Fort Myers news crew allowed inside.
We are prepared for that.
He says contractors tightened seams where water got in and insists the staff is hurricane ready.
Because this is a jail facility at the end of the day, a detainee facility, much like our state prisons, much like our local jails. I'm not going to tell you where we're sending people because that is a law enforcement sensitive issue. We are not going to ask Collier County or Miami-Dade County to evacuate this facility. That is not going to happen.
This comes with Florida's Attorney General posting on social media that hundreds of detainees will arrive before the next sunrise. He says Florida stands ready to support federal operations as needed.
I'm concerned with all of these animals in this species. You know, there have been panthers sighted on the runway.
Miccosukee tribe leader James Osceola worries about the impact on the environment and wildlife. He says the center lies close to sacred land in an area prone to flood.
They're in the process of elevating the highway, and we've been trying to get our camps and homes raised, and this has been an issue for decades.
Authorities say they installed tornado sirens, weather detectors, and speakers to blast emergency messages to reach anyone inside the detention center. It's part of a plan that authorities say will work regardless of weather forecasts.
Back here live, there was only one protester we saw out here today, but you're looking at a sign left behind. Obviously, it says preserve nature, no more destruction. As for when those detainees might arrive behind the gates there on your left, we did not get a specific time, but we were told that it's up to ICE officials as well as Homeland Security. We're live in the Everglades tonight. Larry Seawood.
All right. So, yes, they're complaining about this place, but this place already existed, John. It was already there. They're just utilizing it. So it's like, you know, you're just out there to complain. That's it. I mean, nothing more.
And a lot of the construction is very low impact construction, fencing, things like that. It's nothing like they didn't, you know, the runway was there. This was an airport already. So these facilities, it was a great idea. I love it when they have good ideas. It's just, you know, and you see them taking advantage of it. And we talked about this last week. This is Trump, right? Trump is the genesis of things like this. You see Trump saying, I'm going to do something, and then he does something completely unexpected to resolve a problem, which it would have taken policymakers 100 years writing papers, philosophizing, just trying to make up ways that they can prevent taking action. And Trump just comes, boom, flips a switch and makes something happen. And that's what Uthmeier did here.
John,
it was a great idea. It was funny.
John, literally, we talked about them proposing this on the last Florida show, and now we're doing the next Florida show. It's already open, and they're taking in detainees. I mean,
yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and this is the kind of government that people love. It's okay to make a mistake, right? It's okay to make a mistake in business. It's okay to make a mistake in government too. The faster you act, the more flexible you are, then you can fix a problem after you make a mistake, you can fix it. So it's you know, I'd rather have them take action, impact the lives of Floridians, than not take any action and just pay a bunch of lip service.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know that no matter where they had put this thing, liberals were going to come out and complain about this.
Of course.
No matter where it went.
And then they go back to their condos, you know. I mean, it's just they're driving their Teslas. They're full of it. This is not a conservation issue at all.
Yeah, but you notice that they said there was only one protester out there today, just one single protester. Nobody wants to go near this facility because they might end up in it. You know what I mean?
Well, they said that there was going to be a whole bunch of legislators that go there complaining and protesting. And Uthmeier said, I hope they have an airboat. That was his response. So, obviously this is a good idea when it's hard to get to that, because, Democrats, their number one favorite thing in the world to do is to go and make a show, make a melodramatic demonstration of some sort, get arrested, be peeled away, after tying themselves or taping themselves to a tree or whatever it is that they're crazy about right now. So, yeah, it's a great idea.
Absolutely. And so surprising how fast this came together. Like I said, I mean, we just talked about this on the last Florida show that they were proposing this, and now here it is. We're already bringing in detainees. It's already up and running. So amazing, amazing. So the governor, we did talk about on the last show how they came together. They got a budget done. The governor did sign it. He did sign this budget. He's in the process of going through it. Yes, begrudgingly. But here he is, and he says that no major wins in this budget.
We're going through the budget that was just passed by the legislature last week. And, I want to thank Ed Hooper as the budget chair for really working hard. It was a kind of a thankless task for what they had to do. And it's unfortunate, but the reality is, the House leadership drug this out for 45 days for really no reason at all. The budget that was enacted is not any type of sea change. There was no major policy victories in it. It was something that could have been done 45 days ago. I hear these things about, some people in the House were saying, the Senate spends too much money and we're going to make sure that we stop, spending all this money. Just so you know, because first of all, the Senate House can put, and then I veto money, so the budget always ends up less. But Florida, we're the second lowest per capita state spend of all 50 states in the country. We're going to be going through all this and making, very sound decisions. But the reality is we have less than 2 weeks with a lot of stuff on our desk. And there's all these things that get put in the budget. And I have to approve or veto each one individually. And part of the reason we've paid down so much debt is because I've been willing to do that. There's some things that are obviously good for the state, like some of the stuff that Ed and Nick have done for help the hurricane damage. Like, I'm going to be supportive of that because I think it's important. There's other things that get thrown in there. Not that Ed would ever do this, but there's things that get in there. I don't know how the heck it gets in there. You can't do it, right, with your tax dollars. But, there's a lot of stuff where, that may be good. Maybe it's not. You got to kind of do research on it. And yes, if there's something that Ed wants to do in Safety Harbor, I can call him and say, hey, what's the deal with this? He can explain to me, all right, got you, I'm good. But I can't do that with everybody. And, my staff and I have a limited amount of window now to be able to do this. So we're going to work through it. We're going to be very thoughtful about it. But, we are here 45 days plus after the regular session. And it didn't really need to be that way. And I think a lot of people, Ed and his colleagues, I think they worked in good faith. But this is not the way that you want to be doing this. And so I just hope people appreciate that. But you guys should be proud of your senator here because it was not easy with what he had to deal with. And they were.
Yeah, so there he goes. Basically saying
he's talking about Ed Hooper. Yeah, that's the senator that he's speaking about. And I'll tell you what, Ed Hooper is I guess you could say he's basically the best friend of Ben Albritton. I don't have a lot of faith in that team. I lost faith. I was hoping that they were going to be great, and I just didn't get that impression once the legislation started this year. Once session started, it just seems like it was a big bust, and the leadership team in the Senate was a disaster. Not as bad as the House, clearly, but I suspect that it was a disaster. Well, this legislative session was a disaster.
We talked about it before, John, and that they're all beholden to someone or something. You know what I mean? Like the House and Danny Perez, he wants to be a star, right? He wants his name to be known. Ben Albritton, he's beholden to agriculture.
It's known, all right. Everybody calls him an ass is the problem for him. So he's known as the weakest House Speaker ever. People having conversations behind the scenes to remove him and so on. He's a disaster of a speaker.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure that the House cannot wait for it to be over.
And we've seen that, like the governor said, there was no huge policy wins here. There was nothing that everyone can stand and cheer. Wins. Yeah, nothing. Nothing was done as it relates to property taxes. Nothing was done as it relates to the insurance crisis here in Florida. It's just, I don't know. People need to really think about who they're voting for this next time around in 2026. That's for sure. Well,
yeah, it really was just a disaster.
Yeah. So let's look at a few of the laws that took effect on July 1st.
Of new Florida laws, nearly 100 of them take effect on July the 1st.
These laws cover a wide spectrum from public health to housing, so just about everyone will be impacted. Here are just a few. Starting tomorrow, fluoride is banned from public water systems across the state. Florida will become the second state to take such action following Utah.
Criminal penalties will increase for aggravated animal cruelty thanks to Dexter's Law. The measure is named after a dog that was adopted from a shelter and later found beheaded in a Pinellas County park. It also directs the state to create a public online database for those who have committed animal cruelty offenses.
Lucy's Law will also go into effect. Under the law, boat operators can face felony charges for certain boat safety violations, including if they leave the scene of an accident where another person was seriously hurt. Stricter penalties will also be in effect for boaters who don't provide assistance to other people or provide false information to first responders. The bill is a result of a 2022 crash that killed 17-year-old Lucy Fernandez.
Large parts of a condo reform package are also taking effect. It's aimed at reducing association fees that have skyrocketed due to safety concerns created after the deadly condo collapse in Surfside. The law increases accountability and transparency on condo associations and leadership.
And Florida will now recognize the Gulf of America. New public school materials as well as state statute mentions of Gulf of Mexico will be updated. State agencies will also be required to update geographic materials.
Oh, there you go, John. And a few good things came out of this. I mean,
listen, yeah, a few things came out of this that were fun, I guess, to happen. But listen, this is the overarching truth when it comes to legislation. When you see legislation about animals pass, it means one of two things, especially when it's the things that are mentioned in the news. It means either things are really, really great or things are really, really terrible. All right. And the reason it means one of those two things is because it's either you've done everything that you could that is of consequence, or you've done nothing of consequence, and it's just one of those things that people like to see on the news because Americans like their animals, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you guess what I think this is. There was zero happening in session, apparently. Zero. They didn't look, even the HOA laws, the Association for Condos, it's a positive step for HOA relief for families who have to pay HOA fees or association fees. And we know what a big ripoff that can be here in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Although it could, argue that it's necessary. HOAs are still out of control. HOAs are one of the most corrupt things, and you cannot call DPBR because they don't do anything, right? So it's a mess. It's a mess. They didn't resolve that, but they passed legislation to address a tiny sliver of it just because it's easy to do. Then you have the pets thing. You're telling me that in Florida, we could not pass anything to relieve tax or property taxes. We couldn't do anything about insurance, right? We couldn't do, they passed a boating legislation, but they couldn't. One thing that they prioritize is pets. Poor Dexter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Poor Dexter. But if the dog was in a shelter anyways, wouldn't he have been euthanized at some point regardless? My point is, if they're trying to solve a problem, that had no impact on Americans. That when legislators are passing laws which only increase or decrease, which is cyclical, the punishment for breaking the law, they haven't done crap. They haven't done anything. They're not resolving any problems. And this is just an act because they have to do something in their opinions, right? You get elected, you're a legislator. God forbid we go to the Capitol and not pass any legislation at all. But with this session, it would have been better if they came home with nothing. It would have been better if they passed a budget and came home with no new laws. Why do we have to pass laws? Was Dexter's law so important that if we did not pass that law, that thousands of dogs would have been beheaded throughout the state of Florida? No. How often does this happen? And how often will this law prevent that from happening in the future? Probably not at all. Sick people are going to still go and do it. And did they even catch the guy who did it? They didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't, this is nothing. This is a nothing burger. Session failed. There was zero session this year. They went, they passed a law, they got bedded, they got fed by their lobbyists and by special interests. But other than that, we got nothing. We got a larger bill. We got a bill twice as much as we normally would for the legislators this year. But other than that, nothing happened. It was a failure of the legislature. It was a sham. They should all hang their heads in shame. And if I were the governor, I'd still be laying into him. Although I can tell you the reason that he's not is because he met with President Trump, right? He called him his friend, and he said, listen, please, these are the people. Let's not fight. I don't want to see your wife on the ticket running against Byron Donalds. So let's do something. Let's figure something out.
See, I had heard something similar to that, John, that maybe, just maybe, that there was some deal making going on with President Trump, that maybe Senator DeSantis maybe in the future.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So, I mean, the point is that DeSantis was obviously vying for some kind of control, some kind of power. There has to be horse trading. DeSantis is not going to, he's too young to retire, right? He's not going to ride off into the sunset yet. So there has to be
sit
something.
Back and be the first husband to his wife. I mean,
yeah, he's not going to do it for. Yeah, imagine that's even worse, right? In terms of, and I don't mean it's not worse. I don't mean that it's worse in terms of for him. I mean it's an even further away from realistic of an end result, right?
Yeah.
So those things aren't going to happen. So who knows what it is? There has to be, and then all of a sudden, Casey DeSantis has disappeared, right? So so there has to be some kind of horse trade that happened, and why? I mean, that's why he's not beating the crap out of the legislature still, because Trump came in, must have talked to him, made some kind of deal, and we'll see what happens at the end of the day. But I tell you what, if I were DeSantis, I'd still be hammering them a little bit. I would ensure that Danny Perez gets beat the heck up in his primary election. I would at least do that.
Yeah.
Because somebody who was that horrendous of a speaker cannot go away unscathed, although all of them essentially are doing just that.
Yeah.
Go join the America First Party if you're in Florida. I can't handle it anymore. It's ridiculous. These Republicans are really do nothing. They say a lot. They do nothing. Join the America First Party.
And to answer one of the chat comments, absolutely. I have no doubt that there was a huge lobby that bought off the HOA, for the HOAs buying off legislators. And I have no doubt that there is huge lobbies for almost every industry buying off these legislators. And that's why you see absolutely nothing happening.
Can you imagine if they pass legislation that says McDonald's can't put poison in their hamburgers anymore, that Burger King can? It's the same crap. Yeah. It's the same thing. An HOA, a condo association, an HOA, same thing, same problems. It's all the same, but they can resolve one and not the other. It's all a scam. It just proves my point.
Yeah. Well, the governor has been busy vetoing, and here are 4 bills that he's vetoed so far.
Either sign or veto, right?
Over the past few days, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has vetoed 4 bills that lawmakers pushed for in the latest legislative session. One of these bills is HB 1095, which would have created a substance abuse pilot program through the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. The program required that certain convicts abstain from alcohol or other controlled substances as a condition of probation. But DeSantis said that the program didn't receive the necessary funding within this year's budget, so it wouldn't be able to be responsibly implemented. Next up is HB 1133, which would have set up residency requirements for members of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. In addition, the bill specified that commission members could enter private property under the same requirements as law enforcement officers. DeSantis vetoed the bill on Tuesday, saying that the bill didn't properly protect the property rights of state residents. Third on the list is HB 1445, which would have required state appointees like executive branch secretaries and licensing board members to be U.S. citizens and Florida residents. Similar requirements were also going to be imposed on the Board of Governors and the Board of Trustees members at state universities beginning next year. However, DeSantis said that the Board of Governors and University Boards of Trustees are constitutionally created positions, so lawmakers may not impose additional eligibility criteria. Lastly, House Bill 5015 deals with the Employee Prescription Drug Plan for state workers. Under this bill, the Department of Management Services would have to submit recommendations on what sort of prescription drugs and supplies are covered by the plan. In response, DeSantis claimed that the bill would have a negative impact on state employee families' cost and access to prescription drugs and supplies, as the timeline of the bill would...
All right, so that's it for that. That's four bills that he basically has vetoed so far, John.
I don't know that, I mean, he could have vetoed so many more. He should have vetoed everything and said that you guys just wasted time here. I'm not going to pass that.
I'm sure there's more to come. I'm sure there's a few more to come, but yeah, so far, that's what we know he's vetoed so far. Yeah. So, all right, moving on, John, and we'll see what else he vetoes. Maybe we'll have that on the next show, but, all right, so we talked about the Jacksonville mayor before on this show. Remember, she is the one who put an AI version of herself at the airport to greet visitors to Jacksonville. Yeah. Well,
it wasn't the intention of the sign, right?
No.
The intention of the sign was one thing. Then she hijacked it so that she can make it a giant statue of herself as people entered the city's airport.
Think about the worship wall that we had at Osceola County. And it's at the airport. You walk in, it's a gigantic,
I'm a moron. Here I am. I'm here haunting you. I'm a ghost. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and it actually talks to you and gives you directions. But anyway, she's back in the news, John, for vetoing an immigration bill that's basically going to allow Jacksonville to become sort of a sanctuary city.
From mid-2012 through the end of 2024, no Jacksonville mayor broke out the veto pen. Now, Mayor Donna Deegan is doing it for the second time this year alone. Today was the final day she had to decide what to do with the bill recently passed by City Council that would have blocked city funding, with some exceptions, to any organization providing services to people without legal status in the country. She explained her decision behind the veto during a press conference this afternoon.
This bill does not help our taxpayers. It doesn't help our healthcare workers, our nonprofits, our first responders, or our neighborhoods. This bill is not rooted in the common good. It is political theater disguised as fiscal oversight. Most importantly, this bill puts our city's legal standing, public safety, public health, and economy in jeopardy.
Hold on, pause it.
Decried the mayor's decision.
Wait. What did she say this did? Can you rewind that?
Yes, absolutely.
Rewind that for. She said the economy. So cheap, illegal labor is a positive for the economy? No, it is long-term cancer to your economy. Illegal labor is cancer to your economy. It artificially decreases wages. Okay, but the cost of living continues rising. Why are we in this situation where the United States has a cost of living that has increased so much, so drastically? Remember, our parents could work one job, any job at Publix, but they could still afford to buy a car and a house and support their families. And we can't do that today. It's because of illegal labor. It's the number one reason that has happened in terms of economy. No. Okay, so that's absolutely untrue. It's not good for the economy. Public safety, we're talking about illegal aliens. They literally begin their journey in the United States by breaking the law. Then many of them happen to be people who break the law just to survive because they may or may not have papers, right? No. So it does not help your public. Are you telling me that you have illegal aliens as your cops or your firefighters or your EMTs? I doubt it. Even this person, even this nut job, probably doesn't have illegal aliens on the police force.
No.
Oh, she might. Who knows? So, but the point is that unless she does, how that is illegal immigration? If this is ridiculous, what she's saying is absolutely ridiculous.
No.
It is political theater disguised as fiscal oversight. Most importantly, this bill puts our city's legal standing, public safety, public health, and economy in jeopardy.
Public health? Hold on one second. Wait. Again, this is exactly so. Public health is another way. So you have illegal aliens who have basically atrocious healthcare access, right? Until they get to the United States. Now they're using the same pool of resources that Americans' families need, right? American families, especially poor American families, are asking for the same pool of money, but now you're spreading less money to more people. So that's another illegal immigration problem. So how is it hurting her public health care by having immigration enforcement like this? It's not. You know what else it hurts? It hurts education. Now, instead of 20 kids per classroom, right, now you have 50 kids per classroom, and half of them don't speak English. This lady needs to wake up from her dreamland. Watching her talk about the economy or public policy I'd rather watch the new Snow White movie from Disney. And it's probably more realistic.
Oh, man.
Decried the mayor's decision and discussed possible next steps for keeping the proposed policy alive.
With this veto, Mayor Deegan has decided that she wants to make Jacksonville a sanctuary city. She had a choice to side with decent, hardworking Jacksonvillians. She decided to side with illegal aliens. And look, we're never going to give up this fight. I'm going to take this same bill and put it in this year's budget, and I've got the votes to pass it.
Now, the bill would have also required the mayor's office to report how many people living in the country illegally are currently living in local public housing and also detail all city DEI policies. That report would have been due to city council by June 30th. Now, the mayor says despite the veto, she does still plan to submit a report of all city contracts, all of the city's contracts with providers, noting that's already public record. For local coverage in Count On Live Downtown, I'm Jake Stowe.
All right, so this woman, man, but they've elected her. They keep electing her. I mean,
she's a nut job.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. But she's not the only one, John. Down in Key West, the Key West Commission votes to end ICE immigration enforcement within Key West.
Miranda is reporting that Key West commissioners have voted to axe the immigration enforcement agreement with ICE. Now, our Attorney General, James Uthmeier, responding to this on X last night, and this is what he said, quote, "The city of Key West will going to be hearing from my office very soon." And now we're just hours away from a roundtable discussion with the AG and President Trump. It's happening here in South Florida at Alligator, Alcatraz. Now, public comment in Key West City Hall lasted nearly 2 hours. It was a 6-to-1 vote among those commissioners. Well, the resolution makes the immigration enforcement agreement with Key West PD, quote, void and unenforceable. WLRN reports it was put in place by the department's police chief, but not approved by the commissioners. Local police officers now, it gives them training and the authority by Customs and Immigration to enforce those federal immigration laws. It's important to note here, every sheriff's office in Florida has now signed this agreement that gives them the authority now to act as ICE enforcing those federal immigration laws.
All right. So, as you know, Jacksonville, Key West, these extreme liberal areas of Florida are starting to try and push back on a lot of the things that are happening here in the state, John. And we haven't seen that, though, here in Central Florida, which is actually extremely liberal, too, Orange County, Osceola County. But
I think there's two different types of liberals, right? Like these are liberals who are, number one, they know that Central Florida is a liberal friendly place, right? Like it's like nobody here cares. We don't care about your sexuality. We don't care what you do on your own time. Nobody's trying to worry about somebody else's life, right? But the problem, I think that people here are like, man, we don't have all these issues that you're talking about. We don't have them, right? Yeah. I know that we have an idiot like Maxwell Frost out there talking like an idiot, making us look like we're crazy. But at the same time, we're not as crazy as obviously Key West is, right? Yeah. Key West, they're on islands. And those islands must be like the worst kind of echo chambers in the, just like the island of Manhattan, right? Those islands are full of crazy people in an echo chamber. And unfortunately, Monroe County, you know, Key West, I don't know if it's all of Monroe County. Key West obviously is, they've lost their minds.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. They're inconsequential, right? You go there, you soak your feet in the sand, you eat some conchs, and then you leave. So, I mean, it's not like, you know, you do some lobster fishing and then you move out. Yeah, you have a couple drinks and you, nobody's trying to live out there.
Yeah, not anybody.
They don't have any kids, right? They're either all gay or old, so they don't have any kids. I mean, it is what it is. It's
I was surprised to see that
but they're not opening up their homes to illegal aliens.
No. You know, their commission hall was filled with liberals cheering the decision there. But
I know it looks like that place smelled terrible. I mean, I think that DeSantis should send all the illegals down to Monroe. That's an island, right? Put a fence around some of these islands and let them, you know, Key West. Put a huge fence around Key West, right? So that and just put one exit so that you can get out and swim to Cuba if you want to.
Oh my God. All right, on that note, let's go to our commercial and then we'll go straight into Central Florida. This is a message from our friends at MAGAstore47.com.
Can't find what you're looking for? Well, you can find it at MAGAstore47.com. From shirts to hats, lapel pins, and cardboard cutouts, you can find it all right here. Go and visit MAGAstore47.com today.
Mass deportation is separating families, raising costs, and wrecking our economy. The one big, ugly bill would allow him to double down on his disastrous policies. Thousands of Florida families are being torn apart right now. Nearly 500,000 humanitarian parolees just lost their legal status. Cubans, Venezuelans, Haitians, and Nicaraguans, and another 400,000 TPS holders, predominantly from Venezuela and Haiti, also had their legal status destroyed. They were contributing to our economy, and Trump took that all away. We've had local families, someone just mentioned the guy who was in the country 60 years from Cuba in Florida, who just died in ICE custody. The Juarez Miranda family, who was just deported after 24 years in our agricultural area. And now thousands of local citizens in Florida and across our nation are seeing their family members deported. Trump's mass deportation is raising costs, from farms and ranches to restaurants and landscapers, home builders to hotels and theme parks. Major employers and small businesses are losing thousands of employees. Now the cost to grow food, manufacture goods, and go on vacation or go out to eat is going to go up as a result. Add in Trump's tariffs and it makes the costs even worse.
All right, enough of him.
Soto is as exciting as reading a catering contract. He is the absolute worst. He's the most boring, the least interesting. I'm not going to say that he's the dumbest because he's not. He's a smart guy, but he is. My God, there's just nothing interesting about him. There's nothing fun about him. He's just goes there. He
horrible
tries.
Speaker.
It's horrible. It really is.
Horrible
but
speaker.
You know what? I wanted to. I bet you that room that we saw in Key West smells like Evan Powers' car. If you dump a Bud Light, if you spill a Bud Light on the floor, then it will smell like Evan Powers' car.
You know, it's funny, John, you know, that so many of our Central Florida politicians love Soto. They love him. And you see them standing with him all the time with the big symbolic check, and they're so happy that he brings the money home. But this is what he's doing in other times. He's stabbing President Trump in the back. He's stabbing the Trump agenda in the back. And the majority of Osceola County voted for Trump. So how does this man continue to stay in office? I have no idea.
Access. Here's the thing. When you're corrupt, do you really care about where the money's coming from? You only care about access. And that's what Soto, you know, the one thing is that Soto is universally corrupt, right? He's corrupt with anybody. He'll make a deal with anybody. It's not that he just, you know, he's only corrupt to the left. No, he's corrupt with anyone. And that's just the way he's always been since he felt that his seat was vulnerable, which he is vulnerable now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He just sold out to anyone. And you know, I mean, like I said, the ranchers on the east side of town, you know, they like him because he provides them with illegal labor, right? Like that's what they're about. They like illegal labor. They appreciate the cheap labor. But you know what? It's our kids who should be working those farms. At the end of the day, those jobs that the illegals are working now, the illegals are working everywhere. It's not just they're not just doing the ranch, right? The farm work. Now they're everywhere. They're in Home Depot. They're in Walmart. They're in grocery stores. They're everywhere. They're in retail everywhere. They're all the service industry jobs. They're everywhere. They're not just in one spot anymore. And so imagine if when they were here and they were just doing farm work, they were just doing construction, they were just doing those types of jobs, right? The harm that it did to our salaries, to income in the United States, is still hurting us today, right? I mean, those chickens are coming home to roost now.
Yeah.
Now imagine Biden allowed all those in. He gave them all Social Security cards, and they're all working. So in a couple years from now, that's one of the things economically that I don't know that Trump is going to be able to just overwhelm positive, although he's doing as good as anyone else possibly can, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But these are big problems. And so, you know, Darren Soto is the king of illegal immigration, right, in Florida. No. He's the king of corruption. Well, I don't know that he's the king. He's more like a prince.
Yeah,
but,
because
you know,
he's such a wimpy guy, John. I say stabbing Trump in the back because this is a guy who would never say those things to his face. If he was standing face to face with President Trump,
he's his great friend.
He would be like, "Oh, I didn't mean any of that. I'm so sorry." You know, he'll say these things to a camera, right? But he'd never say it to his face.
I don't know. I don't know that that's the case because what you're saying is true. But I suspect that Darren Soto is not just an opportunist, you know. I just think that there's nothing special about him. And he has no conviction of anything, you know. So it's just a matter of, I don't really care. It's not that he's even a coward. He doesn't care that much. He's like Kevin Spacey, okay, in more ways than one. He's like Kevin Spacey in that movie, The Usual Suspects. You know, where he's like acting like he's like has some kind of disability, and then he walks out and he starts walking normal.
Yeah,
right. That's what I would expect from Darren Soto because he acts like this empty suit, this whatever. I've spoken to him. He's a very intelligent person, and so I always give him credit. I'm not going to lie about him, right? So but at the same time, he just has zero personality. That's a disability. He has zero personality. And that's why he's always been vulnerable. It's just, it can't be somebody who is also lacking in the dynamism.
Well, I'll tell you this, John, for somebody that's so smart, he says a lot of stupid things. And
I mean, his ideology overwhelms his intelligence.
Yeah, we are
so he's Kevin Spacey in more ways than one.
We are so poorly represented here in Central Florida, in Osceola County, Central Florida overall. Yeah. So poorly represented in Congress, whether it be Darren Soto or this guy, Maxwell Frost.
He's even worse. I think he's even worse. He's even worse because he doesn't know how dumb he is, and this guy is dumb. He's not. He's a kid. He's a kid who doesn't belong where he is.
No, not at all. Not at all. And here he is getting grilled over stupid comments he made.
They say they're pro-life because they want the baby to be born, go to school, and get shot in the school. Die in the school, die on the streets. No. That is what they say.
Well, he doesn't realize that they only get killed on the streets of Democrat-run cities.
I moved to strike his words. Over the cliff.
You've gone over. We were going to be quiet, but you've gone over now.
I meant every word.
We are going to strike your words. But on the other hand, it might be good to leave your words. Might be good to leave your words. Because that's how you feel. But you are not going to come into this room and impugn our integrity. You will not. We are pro-life people from conception to natural death. Most of us are. And don't you come in here and say, we want to preserve life so people can get shot.
That's what I've seen.
What a spoiled. His parents must be so embarrassed by what a little piece of crap he is.
Well, Grandma put him in his place, John.
Yeah, Grandma did put him in his place. He was scared. Obviously he doesn't. He's never been in contact with a real man to put him in his place. So Grandma had to do it.
Oh man, yeah. But
can you imagine the man that raised that guy?
Yeah.
God, the man that raised that kid is not a man.
No. Not at all, Don.
It was probably Pete Buttigieg. I'm just speculating. I don't know, because obviously it wasn't a real man that raised Maxwell Frost.
No, not at all. Not from the looks of it. No, not at all. All right, John. So we had a special election over in Orange County, John, and here are the results.
Tonight, the results are in for today's special primary election in Orange County.
Yeah, it's all about filling the vacancies for the state Senate, District 15, and State Representative Florida House, District 40. West Show's Gail Pascal Brown talked with the winners tonight.
Nothing but jubilant celebration could be heard with family and friends in the Bracy Davis camp.
It feels wonderful. This was a hard-fought election, and I'm really grateful. I'm grateful that the people of Senate District 15 have spoken. They spoke loud, they spoke clear, that I am the candidate of choice.
State Representative LaVon Bracy Davis won Orange County's special primary election on Tuesday for Senate District 15. She beat her brother and former state Senator Randolph Bracy.
I love my brother, and I wish him well.
As well as former U.S. Representative Alan Grayson and attorney Coretta Anthony Smith. The late State Senator Geraldine Thompson represented State Senate District 15, which covers northwest Orange County, including Winter Garden, Pine Hills, Metro West, and Paramore. Thompson died in February.
She was my mentor. She was the one that poured into me. I learned everything I know in terms of legislating and working across the aisles from Senator Thompson. So, this moment, while it belongs to me, it also belongs to her. I'm grateful for her.
LaVon Bracy Davis will face Republican Willie Montague in September.
But at the end of the day, the people spoke, and they spoke clearly. And I am asking for that same support in September. So let's take it all the way to victory. I'm excited.
The other race, which was for Bracy Davis's seat in State House District 40, covers College Park, Pine Hills, Rosemont, and Ocoee. Rashawn Young, the former chief of staff for Bracy Davis, won the primary against former state representative Travarius McCurdy.
I cannot quantify or qualify how I feel in this moment. We have worked extremely hard. Our team hit the ground, and we owned the ground game, and I am extremely grateful for everybody who helped make this moment possible.
Rashawn Young will face Republican Twan Lee. Are you ready for September and your Republican opponent?
Absolutely. I mean, the people, I trust the people, and I believe that they're going to show up just like they did today and send me to Tallahassee as the youngest legislator in the Florida legislature.
Covering Orange County in Ocoee, Gail.
So yeah, go ahead, John. Go ahead. I was just going to say LaVon Bracey Davis will face Willie Montague, and I know a lot of people know Willie Montague. He is a truly great human being. And the other guy, the next Maxwell Frost there, he's going to be running against Chuan Lee.
Yeah, obviously I would like to see Willie Montague win his race there. I would like to see Chuan Lee win also. So we'll see what happens in those races. Both of those primary winners seem like nice people. I don't know much about them. I just know that they're Democrats. So obviously their ideology is messed up. But other than that, I wish them well. I really wish that these communities would change their direction. Right?
Yes.
Pine Hills is always going to be troubled if nothing ever changes there. And it's just it's a terrible, terrible situation. And it's going to perpetuate. It's going to be more of the same. Pine Hills will always be crime hills as long as they elect Democrats. I mean, all you got to do is look around the country. Every city led by Democrats is crime hills. So pick something else. There has to be something more than race involved in a political candidacy in order to lead to something better than just a hood. So I hope it changes.
Absolutely, John. You notice that Alan Grayson was in that race against LaVon Bracey Davis there, and poor Alan Grayson, it seems like he just can't get elected no matter what race he sticks his name into. This race, I don't even know how he thought that he would have a snowball's chance in hell of winning this race. But
I think that Alan Grayson, what he should have done is found some kind of legal way or worked within the system to fight against Kristen Arrington. That was his actual chance, right?
Yeah.
Alan Grayson had a chance there to impact that race, and he didn't do enough. He didn't take it seriously enough. The way that he campaigns, he's never going to win another race. He needs to step it up. He needs to hire people that are smarter, better, faster. Everybody has passed them. This is a new age, and you're not getting that old style of not doing anything, going in, slamming up a bunch of signs and nothing else is not going to win the race. No. I debated Alan Grayson. I had a lot of fun doing that when I ran in the same for the same seat that he was running for. And he needs to try a different approach than what he's doing. And it's certainly not going to be in that district. It's just not. So,
yeah, it's almost like he's just sticking his name in every single race that comes along and just seeing if he can win.
I think that he wants to get back in, and that was his chance. And the problem is that Kristen Arrington stole that election. In my opinion, I think that was a place where you would find some stolen election. There's no way that Kristen Arrington won that race. I know that she spent a ton of money.
Yeah.
But you had Alan Grayson, Kristen Arrington, and another candidate that was Hispanic, and Kristen Arrington won. For one, because the system was completely rigged against those other people. She was getting money from the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party was supporting her like crazy, right? The lobbyists were supporting her. The Republicans were supporting her. Everybody was supporting her to win. So there was no way to win that race unless you really had the throwdown. He's not going to win just by being Alan Grayson anymore.
Yeah. So let's say a prayer for Willie Montague and Chuan Lee. If you have a chance, please give them your support if you can. They definitely need it. All right, John. So former Sheriff Marcos Lopez has bonded out of jail. Finally, he got out. And what's next?
The defense attorneys for Marcos Lopez will now focus on how they plan to defend him against his felony charges in court, while his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez, is still locked up here in the Lake County Jail. Her attorney tells WESH 2 News she's hoping to learn more about the state's evidence in the racketeering case. As his defense attorneys escorted him into a truck waiting outside the jail Thursday night, suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez didn't say anything to
Crazy,
reporters.
that scene was
West
crazy.
2 spoke exclusively with one of the lawyers defending him against racketeering and conspiracy charges.
Very long process, very dragged out. Took some time, but we achieved what we needed to, and we're happy that we did that thus far.
While the suspended sheriff is spending his first full day out of jail, his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez, is still behind bars. She also needs to prove to the state she has sufficient legal funds to post her $400,000 bond.
They do not operate as a married couple. I would suggest to this court that the stronger relationship between them is that of co-conspirators.
Friday afternoon, Mrs. Lopez's attorney, Michelle Hare, told West 2 she's only read the 6-page arrest affidavit for her client. She's filed this notice of discovery because she wants to review the sealed 255-page arrest affidavit for the other defendants. She says she wants to learn more about the allegations of Robin's involvement in the conspiracy to commit racketeering.
She is not charged with substantive racketeering, and we know that's because there's not a pattern of racketeering here that can be proven. There's not more than one incident that could qualify as racketeering activity.
During Tuesday's hearing, Yard mentioned a Christmas party photograph with the Lopez couple and Krishna Diakaran. The state has not charged him in the criminal racketeering case. According to an Osceola County civil forfeiture complaint West 2 Investigates uncovered, Diakaran was the owner of the Eclipse Social Club in Kissimmee. In court documents, statewide prosecutors described that business as an illegal gambling house with slot machines. The suspended sheriff is not mentioned in the investigative report from the civil case. One of the agent's bullet points from an interview with Lopez's co-defendant Sheldon Weatherholt states, Chris is the guy that has all the connections and is at the top of the food chain. An attorney Yard has waived the arraignment for Robin Severance Lopez. She also filed a written plea of not guilty on her behalf. The estranged wife of the suspended Osceola County Sheriff will now spend her 5th night here in the Lake County Jail. Reporting in Lake County, I'm Justin Shecker, West 2.
All right, so we'll talk about Robin Severance Lopez in a minute here, but very interesting to note, they're talking about this guy, Krishna Diakaran, who actually owned the club where the gambling was taking place, and no one is going after him. Why do you think that is, John? Why do you think they're not looking at this guy?
I don't know. It's interesting, and it's also worth noting that Puff Daddy just got away with the racketeering charges that he had against him.
Yeah.
Racketeering charges are not easy to convict on, apparently. Federal prosecutors, the prosecutors in this case, are probably going to have a hard time because, especially against the wife, I don't know. I mean, there's just racketeering charges is like a capture all, type of thing. And I don't know. I mean, it brings flexibility to somebody to prosecute. And at the same time, and I'm not speaking from experience here, I'm not an attorney, but it also gives people maneuvering space for the defense. And, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been pretty convincing. The evidence must have been pretty convincing for DeSantis to suspend him immediately, right?
Yeah.
That's. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting that this guy is mentioned as the owner of the club. No charges have been filed against him.
Yeah.
Yep.
No
Do we
charges
still
against
have
him.
the Chinese national on the run? Ying Kate Zhang, who's on the run. No one is talking about her. It's just fascinating to me.
So, like all these people, when he got arrested, were complaining that Marcos Lopez was a scapegoat and that he was being targeted, right? And so on and so forth. I mean, it makes it seem that way, right?
Yeah.
How do you get the sheriff, but you don't get the owner of the club?
Yeah.
How does that happen? How can you arrest one? It's an illegal gambling club. There's a civil suit, but you don't arrest him? The owner of the club? Isn't that the person that he's conspiring with to racketeer? I mean, I don't know. It's
Do you
odd.
think though
It's
that
odd.
maybe it has more to do with the Chinese national connection there, and maybe
But
that
they let her escape.
Yeah. Well,
How in the hell do you arrest a sheriff and let the Chinese spy escape. Alleged. Right? I mean, wouldn't you arrest her first?
Yeah.
If they're saying that he's a flight risk, don't you think she's like 5 times the flight risk?
No.
How do you not arrest her first?
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that they let her go. I think that they let her, I mean, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think that they let her go. A Chinese spy wouldn't just like disappear. You're not watching them? I mean, you're spying on American citizens, but you don't have a Chinese spy under wraps when she's already under investigation for racketeering?
No.
I mean, how do you get away? So
I mean, they're saying that she has probably fled the country. They're saying that she probably made off with the majority of the money. Yeah, how did she get out?
How did she go?
Yeah.
How did she? And listen, the Chinese aren't interested in that money. The Chinese, they bring the money to the United States to give to Americans to create these cultural bonds with citizens of the United States, right? They pay off people here. The money's not the important part. I mean, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but they don't want I don't know. It's just very fishy to me.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like he was targeted. They got him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
They had some people that were not involved. They didn't get the owner of the club. They didn't get the Chinese spy. Either they did a really crappy job of investigating. They did a horrendous job of executing the warrants. They fumbled it. And then they're going to fumble this prosecution of Lopez and watch him go away for free. But they got him out of sheriff.
Yeah.
Maybe that was what they wanted all along. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a defender. I'm not an apologist of the sheriff. I know that some people are. I'm not. I don't care. I don't care either way. I think guilty people should get caught and go to jail. I'm okay with that. I hate to see what happens to the kids if the wife is collateral damage, because I was about to say she's estranged. They keep calling her estranged, but she's a co-conspirator. How is she that? You think that let's just talk men here, right? And women who are watching. You all know, all of you know, everybody who's watching. Imagine this. You are estranged from your spouse and you're co-conspiring together. That's already not likely. If two spouses are not getting along so that they're estranged, you think they're going to be working together?
Well,
each other's guts.
Well, the thought is that this has been going on since before he became sheriff. When he was on the way to becoming sheriff, they were still together at the time.
The night that he was elected. She
knew what was going on, and he was paying her off to stay quiet.
No, the night. I mean, maybe, but the night that he was elected, she's not going to be quiet. She's going to take money. She's probably not even going to ask any questions. If they're not getting along, so a husband's going to be answering questions to a wife that he's not with? I doubt it. And she's going to be asking questions. She's going to be saying, give me my money and shut up and stay away from me. I mean,
yeah. But that's what I'm saying is that she had a vested interest in keeping him out of jail.
That doesn't make her a co-conspirator for this, right? Because
no, not exactly, but they could tie it back. You know what I'm saying? And she did have 2 deposits on her when they arrested her that they didn't know what they were for, but they were large sums of cash.
So I understand completely. And I'm just, what I'm saying is that it's far more plausible that this woman is, I'm going to get this guy out of jail because I have a child with him. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I wish you'd stay. If he could keep paying me and be in jail, that's probably her best outcome.
Right.
And I'm just saying man and woman.
And that's why I'm saying that she was probably going along with things, knowing what was going on, because
I don't know that
she had a vested interest
know.
in keeping him out of jail because, of course, the money keeps coming. So
I
don't know.
I mean, those are 2 different things, right? Like knowing that somebody's, if it were me, my wife, if my wife knew that I was doing something illegal, okay, and she was doing it for, I don't know. Our families may be a little bit different than theirs, but I don't know. I wouldn't get that. The grief that I would be suffering from my wife for doing something illegal. If I was going to do something illegal, I would have to do it away from my wife.
Yeah, so you would have to do it. You would have to do it beyond her knowledge because she would never let you do it. She would never let you do it.
And as far as she knows, he's the sheriff.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, I don't know. I don't. I find it hard. I mean, I'm not. Believe me, that nobody's an angel, but at the same time, I think that it's easier for her to beat this case. And if he told her and said, "Hey, can you bail me out of jail, please?" She's like, "What money do I use?" He's going to be like, "Go here. It's in my sock drawer. Whatever, it's there." Okay, fine. I'm going to go get this money, take the sock drawer. Oh, so now you're in jail for using this dark money.
Yeah. So she uses the money to go try and bond him out. They pick her up. She goes to jail.
And the funny thing is that he left her in jail. He bonds himself out. He gets, he leaves her in jail. So what does that tell you about their relationship? You think that he's reporting to her what he's doing? I doubt it. If I did not care enough about my woman that I left her in jail and I got myself out of jail first, I guarantee you I would not be reporting to her what I'm doing on a daily basis, whether I'm racketeering or I'm doing everything perfectly normal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is just, I don't know. Which means it's going to be difficult for the prosecution to make something happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. But I'm not a lawyer.
Well, we'll see. And we'll see what the case is because they've yet to put any of this out to the public. We don't know what they have against them and what the true nature of this case is. Although I have feelings, I have thoughts and feelings about it. You have thoughts and feelings about it. I truly believe that there is a deeper connection with the Chinese national, and I think that's a lot of the reason why all this went down the way it did. But
I think he did it, and I think that he might have even known that she was a Chinese spy.
Yeah.
If she was in fact a Chinese spy.
I think so.
I'm saying that there's no I could see him doing anything at all. I could see him doing anything at all. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. All right. So going to the wife, she had her bond hearing today.
Week after suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez released on bond, his estranged wife is due back in front of a judge as she tries to get her freedom back. News 6's
that was when she found out how much her bond was.
Jail with the breakdown of what law enforcement say her involvement in an illegal gambling ring. Angie, what's expected to happen in court today?
Hey, good morning, Steve. That's right. So the biggest thing that we know is that Robin is still here in the Lake County Jail after the judge set her bond at $400,000. Now, the biggest thing, though, is her lawyer will make a new push to get her released and argue that the money that she has for the bond is legitimate and doesn't have any ties to criminal activity.
1 week after Marcos Lopez bonded out, his estranged wife, Robin Severance Lopez, is now the one fighting to be freed. The 50-year-old faces a second-degree felony charge accused of conspiracy to commit racketeering in a multi-million-dollar illegal gambling operation. Prosecutors say she helped facilitate money flowing through the operation, even offering a property to secure Marcos's bond, despite their ongoing divorce.
And at her arrest on yesterday, the defendant had 2 bank receipts in her possession indicating she had made 2 deposits, one in the amount of $117,000 dated June 11th, and an additional $60,000 deposit dated June 13th, both of which were made approximately 1 week after Marcos Lopez's arrest.
Defense attorney Michelle Yard says she provided documentation showing the bond money is clean and released a statement to News 6 saying it's tragic that Ms. Severance Lopez has been swept up in this case given her lack of involvement in any conspiracy. I am highly optimistic that the judge will finally allow her release from detention at the hearing.
Now, that hearing is set for this afternoon, and if the judge approves the plan, Robin Lopez could walk out of the jail by tonight. Her next court date is set for July 21st. Of course, we're going to keep you updated with any developments on U6 and over on clickorlando.com. Reporting live in Lake County, Angie Casale.
All right, so
now, this
yes,
could be a tactic by the prosecution that increased the amount of pressure on Lopez, right? Now Lopez, his wife is in jail, right? He can't go back and look at his family and be like, I left my wife in jail, so he's forced to go make a mistake to get that money, something. It's also a tactic, it's a chess move. So that might also be the case.
She did have her bond hearing today, John, and her lawyer Michelle Yard did say that the money was clean to get her bond out, but unfortunately for Robin Severance Lopez, she was denied bond today. $20,000 of the $400,000 did not have proper documentation. So she is still sitting in the Lake County Jail.
Man, it is what it is.
It's
You better really hate your wife to get her involved and to have her end up in jail, I mean, how bad does that marriage have to be where he probably, he might not have even spoken to her in years. He's like, hey, can you go with the money that I have in this sock drawer and bring it to the jailhouse? And she's like, what? This is the first time we've spoken in a year. Please, please. Okay, fine. No. And he knows that she's going to end up in jail. I mean, that's like sitcom stuff.
Cindy says no one helping her out, so she will sing. I hope so. I really do. Possible. I hope she has something to sing about.
If I landed my wife in jail, she would absolutely tell on me.
Oh, man. All right. So moving on from the sheriff, and I'm sure that this story is just going to keep going. We'll have more.
It's a bizarre thing.
Yeah. All right. So I'm glad that Laverne McGee of Channel 6 is now our Osceola County correspondent, because she's actually, reporting on Osceola County. So kudos to her. When will Osceola see road projects completed? I think we're all asking that question.
Laverne McGee, your Osceola County community correspondent. If you're like many people who's tired of all of this traffic, know that help is on the way. Those mobility fees.
And notice there's no traffic behind her.
Building, they're kicking in. And now there's going to be several road improvement projects, like here at the Turnpike. Growth is great for Osceola County's economy, but traffic is a nightmare.
We're making every effort to get these roads constructed properly and as quickly as possible.
To get them in the hands of Junior Davis as quickly as we can, believe me. After all those campaign contributions, we absolutely are desperate to get that money back into the hands of Junior Davis.
I was about to say, we only have one construction company we use to build these roads. So it can only happen so fast because we only go to this one company.
We're only allowed to use one company.
We're only allowed to use Junior
ever
Davis.
Since Cathcart did St. Cloud. Now we only have one. That's
just
funny.
Junior Davis. That's it.
New road projects. Those fees are paid by developers who want to build things like new housing developments. The county is also partnering with the Florida Turnpike
new
to
housing
widen
development.
At the southern end of the county.
Have you seen the diversion diamonds that they're building now?
Why, yes. As a matter of fact, we have. News 6 has been telling you about the one in Orange County at Sand Lake Road and I-4. They're used because they can handle higher volumes of traffic. It's a type of highway interchange where traffic temporarily crosses to the opposite side of the road, allowing for easier left turns onto freeway ramps. Stengel says the new exchange where Nolte intersects Canoe Creek should be finished by 2029. Other projects that will not take as long are also in the works.
We have improvements to Neptune Road, which is one of the major east-west corridors.
Have you seen those diamonds?
That's under construction. We're completing roadway improvement projects that are under construction on Simpson Road. That's in the Ventura Lakes area. South of Meadowwoods. We're looking at improvements on the west side of the county, a road called Old Lake Wilson Road. So that's a major north-south road that is in that tourist area that will allow our visitors to move around easier. They're going to see a difference. Now,
not the residents of Osceola County.
No.
So
listen, there's one reason that they're building these roads post haste now, and that's because they diverted all of that money from Neo City. All of the money that they had, they poured it into Neo City. So they neglected their duties as public officials to make sure that we had infrastructure here that would not make us all miserable. Instead, they made the conscious decision to create traffic because they were selling out the county, right?
Yep.
They over and over and over again. Now they know one more election cycle, they don't have it in them. They will have their butts handed to them, so they have to do this post haste. Now you see them really working. On the other hand, they're also getting an infusion of money because the property taxes are increasing. And so they're getting all this new money. They have to spend it or they will have their butts handed to them in the next election. That's the only reason they're doing it. All this other time, they were already as much as possible, as much development. We're not going to touch the roads. Give me all the development money. Be as corrupt as you can possibly be with that money. Build a 50-foot statue to the homosexuality of, commemorating the homosexuality of one county commissioner, or all 5 of them as far as I know. And then, at the same time, just waste every penny. Listen, all of a sudden now they're building roads because they're testing the waters. And when they test those waters, the results are telling them they're going to have their butts handed to them, especially if that 150-year-old mummy that they have as the supervisor of elections of Osceola County, keels over, right? Then who's going to help them steal elections, right? Who's going to help them steal elections? I don't think anybody will. So, or maybe they don't know. You can't trust everybody the way that you can that mummy. So, you have a seriously desperate situation for the establishment of Osceola County, and they're trying to do everything that they can now to save themselves. That's the only reason that they're building roads. We'll see if it comes soon enough.
No, it's not, John. It's all too little, too late. And no matter what they do now, and you see it, like you said, happening all across the county right now, there's all kinds of construction on the roads, but still they are approving developments. They're still approving more construction.
Well, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop.
No, it's not going to stop. And you're going to see it keep coming. Cindy said the Sand Lake and I-4 is a show, and absolutely it is. These diverging diamond designs that are all the rave now to our transportation people. They are not what they're all made out to be. And I've seen that too, Cynthia. I've seen these diverging diamonds. They alleviate some of it. They make it a little bit better, but it's still going to be a complete total show. And there's no doubt about that. Not to mention the fact that you have all these approved developments coming in with more residents that are going to come in. By the time they're done with these projects, and they said Turnpike's going to be done 2029, whenever you have a construction project like that, you add another year to whatever they tell you, or year or two. So they say 2029. I'm thinking more like 2030, 2031. You're going to see huge problems, and they're going to have to build even more roads after that, because what they have done at this time is not enough. They are completely behind the 8 ball. They continue to be behind the 8 ball. It's not going to change. It's not going to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, John. So City of Kissimmee. And City of Kissimmee is debating a midnight last call, John.
A last call debate that could soon come at midnight in the city limits of Kissimmee. But bar owners say it will put them out of business.
We do this, Kissimmee is a destination, they'll just leave. That's what they'll do.
Supporters say a midnight last call is the right call to help make Kissimmee safer, especially downtown.
Yeah, opponents say the city just recently started enforcing a noise ordinance and other ways to crack down on crime, and they should be given a chance. Community correspondent Troy Campbell is live at Kissimmee City Hall, where an hours-long debate is still underway right now. Troy.
Yeah, the meeting started at 6 p.m. and it was just minutes ago when they passed the first reading of that ordinance, but it wasn't before business owners and bar owners. They filled the chambers saying that they did not approve of this after midnight sales permit. Business owners in downtown Kissimmee spoke out against a proposed after midnight alcohol sales permit during Tuesday's commission meeting. According to the ordinance, bars in downtown Kissimmee would have to pay $250 to acquire a special late night permit to sell alcohol from midnight to 2 a.m. It would also give the chief of police the ability to suspend a bar's after midnight permit if there's an incident or a safety concern.
We have seen an improvement, and we'll continue to see the improvement. Someone mentioned when we start our downtown unit as well, have that daily presence downtown as well.
The latest push for safety changes came after several shootings, including a shooting in early May that left 2 people injured. The mayor and commission then instructed city staff to drop an ordinance similar to what's already been passed in Orlando. There were also members of the public who told the commission they agree with the ordinance.
Nothing good happens in the street after midnight.
Yep.
I'm here to urge you
It's
to
true.
adopt the ordinance restricting alcohol sales after midnight and implementing a permitting process for those businesses that wish to sell alcohol between midnight and 2 a.m.
With being able to have an enjoyable time downtown. How that balance is created, I really don't know, but I don't think restricting businesses from being able to make a living, not only the business, but the people that work there, for the people that live there to enjoy the businesses.
And this was just the first reading of the ordinance, so it still needs to have a second reading. The commission has their next meeting scheduled for July 15th. Live in Kissimmee tonight, Troy Campbell.
All right. So, we had a good debate about this, John, at the top of, before we were doing show prep, talking about this. I have no problem with this. I mean, if you want to have your bar open till 2 a.m., you pay your $250 for the permit. But you brought up a reason why they would be against this, John. And you talk about that.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I agree with the woman who said nothing good happens after midnight, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in the city limits. I don't go out there. I don't enjoy these bars. I'm not out there drinking. I don't do any. I'm not doing that. But at the same time, I do recognize that these are businesses that they're trying to impede, and I am a property rights kind of guy. I'm also a ability to, they should be able to police. Like the city itself takes tax money from us to facilitate protecting us and facilitate us pursuing our American dream, whatever that may be. We do not have a government so that the government can come and tell you when and how you can operate. I don't like that. It's always, first of all, let me just put it plainly. I don't trust a single Democrat's authority to use a pen to ban what I want to do. I don't like that, right? And I just can't appreciate that. I don't trust them to say whether I can keep my license or do my. I don't want their involvement whatsoever. And why the hell does the city of Kissimmee have to debate every issue? They're going to tell you, oh, well, you can only do laundry on Tuesdays. You can water your lawn on Wednesdays. You can do this on Friday. It's like, no, get out of my life. Get out of my life. I don't want you involved in my life. Don't tell me how to operate my business. When you can run your city better than it's being run now, then you can tell me how to do my business. And if you can't control a one street downtown, then come on.
Yeah.
You downtown this is not Orlando. It's not Miami. It's not Jacksonville. It's not Ybor City. It's not Tampa. This is Kissimmee. Downtown is one street. You have two bars. You can go to Three Sisters or you can go to the Parsons Place next door, right? So I don't. Yeah, I think it's that part. I think it's the Parsons Place, but I don't know. The point is, those are the two bars. Okay, there's not like a gigantic amount of options. This is not downtown. There's not 50 bars in one block. Come on, you guys can't control one downtown street. What is going on? I mean, didn't the top cop in Kissimmee just resign from her job because of some police brutality? I mean, what were they doing with that police brutality? You'd think that they would at least be keeping the peace. What the hell? I just don't get it. So anyways, here's the thing. If I'm a bar owner, I don't want the city in my business. The $250, it's not a big deal. If you can't afford $250 a year, then it's not the $250. The problem is that now some guy who's unelected, you were right, it was the chief of police who can take away your permit. Who knows if he has to get it, how you can get it back, right? So let's say that you have a crime that happens on your place, but it's not your fault, right? There's just crime.
Yeah.
Then the police chief can come and take away your permit to operate and give that to your competitor. So what happens if things get a little bit political? Now, you and I are both familiar with Osceola County. Yeah. It's the most corrupt county in the state of Florida. So let's say that you have a beef. If it was John Arguello's bar in downtown Kissimmee, the county would be all over. They would be releasing roaches under my door. They would be doing everything they can to shut me down because of the show that you and I do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now what happens if you have a beef? You're a bar owner. You have a beef with look, that's one of those bars is Felix Ortiz.
Yep.
Who ran against the mayor, right? They're in a rivalry. So now you're going to put the hands of one guy. He can't express himself because he can't fight with the mayor. For example, I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying as an example, right? No. Let's say you don't like cops and you're out there on social media all day saying, I hate cops. Not me. I love cops.
But you're out there, you're like, Black Lives Matters, defund the police or whatever, but you also happen to be a bar owner, and the police chief sees that, and the police chief says, you know what, this person is not going to be able to operate after midnight because you have like somebody get a speeding ticket by your bar. I don't like that kind. Why? That's not your job as a city. Okay, you're not protecting and serving, you're preventing. That's like Minority Report stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
You're protecting in advance of it actually happening. No, how about this? If there's 20 cops there at night, make sure that you arrest the bad guys, make the bad guys pay, let the good guys operate their businesses. And if it's the bar and somebody gets hurt at the bar because the bar's being irresponsible, then don't allow that bar to have any immunity and let somebody sue the crap out of that bar, and then that bar won't do it again. Because if you take away their money, that's what they care about. It's the whole reason they operate.
Yeah.
So I just think that Osceola County is the last place in the world where you want a county commission, a city commission making up the rules. You don't want it because they can't be trusted. There's not a single one who has earned the trust of the people of Osceola County. That's just my opinion about it.
No,
so I do agree with you, though, in terms of nothing good happens after midnight, right? You can afford to pay so they can afford to pay the police, et cetera, et cetera. I agree with everything that you said. I just don't trust any elected politician more than I trust myself to do what's right.
Yeah, especially if we're not having this problem, with multiple bars throughout the city of Kissimmee. And we know that this problem seems to be concentrated at these two locations in downtown Kissimmee. So if that's the problem there, isn't there a different process they can go through to shut down these bars if they're not policing themselves, if they are a complete nuisance, if the police chief is constantly having to go there and take care of problems that are occurring at this place, and these places are not policing themselves. In other words, they're not hiring private security or anything to handle the riffraff that's coming to their establishments and causing these problems.
Yeah, I think that all you got to do is encourage one person who witnesses a crime there. Like if you witness a shooting and you get PTSD, you sue the place because that's what they've had, shootings. So sue them into oblivion. Let them hire 15 private security people if they're having problems like that. If they're find them, right? If they're in the city and they're causing problems, find them. Fine them. Create an ordinance that says that you're going to be financially responsible. If we have to add police, then there's a city ordinance that says that if you're a single organization and you're causing the necessity to have extra police, then we're going to fine you $500 a day. Every day we have to come out to your location after 2 or 3 calls, right?
Yeah.
Or something. The point is, money talks, BS walks, and politicians are full of BS.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And, it is funny that they're going through all this trouble just for basically 2 bars in the downtown area. And there are bars that are even near there that they're not having these issues. So it speaks more to the establishment than it does to a citywide problem where you need to implement this stuff. But I do agree, nothing good happens after midnight. And, you're going to...
And at the same time, you can't talk about Kissimmee being a destination and trying to improve the economy. When people drink, they tip, right? So you have Trump saying no tax on tips, and you have our city commission turning down the business. And so now we get, and what's the number one job in Osceola County? The service industry.
Yep.
So now you're going to kill this is probably the best job that some of those people will have, right? And it's going to be at night. Their best nights are going to be on Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? When they're drinking, when people are drinking. And now you're gonna ruin their business because then that impacts a lot of people. And I don't agree. I'm not the one. I don't participate. I'm not trying to save myself. It's not something. I'm not a big drinker, But at the same time, I don't like the government. I don't trust the government. I don't trust people who yearn to have the power of the pen.
Yeah. No. I hear you there, John. All right, so we'll see what happens there. Like they said, their next meeting is July 11th, I think they said, or 15th, something like that. And we'll see what they end up doing. All right, so St. Cloud, John, and St. Cloud's been giving us a lot. as of late, and that's why we had the video at the top of the show, and it involved St. Cloud because they have been giving us quite a bit.
They love to be in the news.
Yeah,
they act like they don't, but they love to be in the news. There's an egomaniac who, my God, is starving for a camera right now. Right now, they're putting their own cameras up, pointing them at themselves, and they're taking selfies, practicing for the next time there'll be a camera.
It's funny to me that some people are actually believing that he is going to be looking for all this waste and saving taxpayer money when he's the one blowing taxpayer money right now. I mean,
no kidding. And this is the same guy who supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, but who was practicing real estate without a license, right? When he was at the city. So if that's true, to steal a word from the former sheriff, a charlatan.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have special meetings just so that you can get media coverage. There was no reason for these things. We watched them, right? We were watching it in the prep for the show. We were listening. There was no reason for a meeting. Yeah. This guy he loves he would call a meeting every hour if he could. A meeting John, on the hour.
You look at the opening video package that we had, and they were talking incessantly about 2,000 to 4,000 people showing up at that Pride in the Cloud event. 2,000 to 4,000 people. 2,000 to 4,000 people. When in reality, all that showed up was around 1,000 to 1,500 people. So in other words, they added extra staff to that event that they didn't need to add for 2,000 to 4,000 people that never even showed up. And what were they basing that 2,000 to 4,000 people on? Because you look at history, you look at 2024 when they had that event, they had 1,000 to 1,500 people show up to that event. So where do you get this 2,000 to 4,000 people number? In other words, they wasted taxpayer dollars sending extra staff to this event that was unnecessary. Now, before we talk about this meeting that they had tonight or they scheduled, let's set this up for some context.
St. Cloud's mayor called a special meeting to get witness statements from 2 employees, including one who will be subpoenaed. This pertains to 2 events, the Vanguard Awards Gala and Black Empowerment, and the Proud in the Cloud event.
As West 2's Gail Pascal Brown reports, the mayor is calling for clarification, while people who live there say they want transparency.
I need to ensure that when I make a decision, especially when we go to do a $250+ million, $80 million budget, I've got to know exactly what's going on in all departments.
St. Cloud's mayor called this special meeting Thursday regarding an investigations inquiry.
Mayor Robertson.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
Council members voted 4-1 to question 2 of its city employees, one a supervisor of economic development and the other a Parks and Recreation employee.
Nobody's saying anybody did anything wrong. Obviously, you guys know what happened the past 2 weeks here. There's been a lot of things said back and forth, and I just want clarification.
It all has to do with concerns of how special events bookings were handled during 2 recent events held in the city.
The mayor was concerned with one of them, that we didn't have enough staffing, city staff, that was going to be at the event. So council voted at that meeting to increase the staffing at the city's cost for that event.
Another event that same weekend raised concerns over how the city handled the booking with that particular group.
We have 2 employees specifically that they're looking for, one of whom has given notice that she is leaving. And so because she will no longer be a city employee, they are looking to exercise the subpoenas so that they can get her to come back.
I know the word investigation was scary, but that's literally how our charter quotes it. So it's not that it's anything to, I gotcha, it's just the way our city charter is.
How do you feel about the way the vote went today? Does that satisfy some of your concerns?
Sure. Sure, because all they're going to do is ask questions. And I think that we as residents for years haven't had transparency.
Another meeting on this issue has been
scheduled. And much less now.
3rd.
Here's the funny part. Wait. Pause this. Is this a random citizen, Tom? No. Is this just some random citizen? This is the Chris Robertson fan club president.
Yeah, this is his best friend. That's his best friend.
Listen, they're together. I've never seen them apart. Okay, I've known them. I don't know, 3 years, something like that. Maybe
it's
3 years.
Longer than that now.
Okay, so I've known them whatever amount of time, a few years. I don't think I've ever seen them apart. I've only seen them together. And I mean that literally. I may have seen them a dozen times, maybe 24 times, maybe 50 times in my lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen them apart. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how close friends they are. Okay. And they interview her.
I mean
that would be
she goes and picks him up and drives him around.
Yeah. Does she really?
Yeah, she used to back in the day. I know that. And I'll tell you, I don't blame Gail Pascal Brown, who did that interview.
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know that that's the mayor's best friend, but it was the mayor's best friend. And this is a person who is going to defend any action he takes, no matter what.
Yes,
Never going to put him down.
If I'm applying to be the Pope, interviewing my mom about what she thinks about it. There's no point. I doubt my mom would want me to be the Pope, though. But nonetheless, it's the same thing. It's BS. You interviewed the wrong person. There's no credibility with her. She's going to defend him to the death.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this meeting that they did call, and they were talking about.
And she goes to every single meeting, by the way. She's not going there for the city.
Absolutely.
She's going there for Chris.
And you can see that when you watch a meeting. If you watch one of these meetings on YouTube, you can see them because they are right in camera shot. This is the Chris Robertson support group or fan club, whatever you want to call them. I mean, they are the three ladies right there behind the speaker. There they are, and
we're not saying anything bad about them. We're just saying that they're his fans.
Yes,
they're going to support. They're supporters of Chris Robertson.
Yeah.
So they're supporters of Chris Robertson. That's what's going to happen. They're going to so there's no point in interviewing them. They're just supporters of him.
Yeah, they
don't care what he does.
That picture there was for the reporters like Laverne McGee and Gail Pascal Brown that come to St. Cloud and do these stories. Know that if you speak to those three ladies there, they are going to defend the mayor's actions no matter what action he takes. So
no matter what action he takes.
Yeah, just know that. But yes, that meeting happened tonight where they subpoenaed the director of economic development and a Parks and Rec employee to speak before the council. A lot of people that we know, I've seen people online talking about it, that this was going to be a meeting where they find waste and it's going to be like Doge and it's going to be, this was a complete total nothing burger. A complete total nothing burger. It was nothing. They talked about $10,000 that they gave to become a Keystone member of the BECC. And John, you can talk about that. What is the BECC?
So the BECC, we looked it up. The BECC is the Black Empowerment Community Center or something like that. I'll tell you exactly in a minute. No big deal. Nothing wrong with it. But here's my question. It's the Black Empowerment Community Council. Now, if you're going to pay $10,000, the city paid $10,000 to be the partner of this organization, right? Now, who knows how much? Maybe Kissimmee going to give money too. This is Democrat. You can see, supposedly they're Republicans. This is a Democrat organization. Okay, it's going to say that they're nonpartisan, but they're Democrats. I know a lot of the people that are on here, fine people, nothing wrong with them. I'm not saying anything about them. They're fine people, but they are also ideological, right? And they are. This is just the Black community. That's all this is about. Black Empowerment and Community Council. That's what this is, okay? Now, I've tried to talk to some people, some other people I could not talk to here before in the past. I know the president and CEO of this organization, very nice lady, very
she's
very
running
nice.
for she's running for office, right, John? Is that the one that's running for office? I think she's running for
a county commission, yeah. And so she's like a Mary Downey type of person. She came, she got involved with a lot of the leadership in the county. I met with her at that time. I have nothing bad to say about her. But you know me, I don't like anything based on race, okay? It's just not me. I don't like anything based on race. Imagine if I start HECC, okay, the Hispanic Empowerment and Community Center. And then I go to the city and I say, hey, can I have $10,000? I'm Hispanic. Then the city would have spent $20,000. And I encourage everyone now, okay, well, everybody, I'm Chinese. Well, we already know the Chinese get their $10,000, but they get it under the table from the city of St. Cloud, right? Because they had the former mayor on board and who knows everybody else. But I'm Chinese, I'm Swahili, I'm whatever it is. I'm going to come and I'm going to get my $10,000 from the city. It's dumb. Don't do anything race-based. This is a waste of city money. Don't do anything. Do things based on merit. Everything you do as a city should be based on merit. If there's anybody that I want to be blind, I want the church to be blind of race. I want the city, and I want the county, the government, whatever it is, any level of government should be blind from race or ethnicity or anything like that. These are organizations that should not have a bias. But now, because they cannot have a bias per law, how are they going to reject other organizations that come? So Hispanic organizations now, the establishment's going to create their own. They're going to come make it whatever, and then people with disabilities are going to make their own group. They're going to come and get 10 grand, and you're going to have to support it all because you're morons. You're morons. There's no other explanation for it. So you're giving away $10,000 for people based on race. It's the dumbest thing that a city could do. You guys fell into it because
the mayor is saying that he had no idea about this. He didn't know.
Well, then you're a moron. It doesn't escape you. If you don't know, and the city just
called this special council meeting to find out these details. So he found this out tonight.
You knew about the whole gay pride event, though. I mean, here's the thing: you can't lie. Listen, you're upset that you don't know all the details, but it's not your job to know all the details. It's your job to establish the guiding principles of the city. It's your job as a city council to establish the mission and the vision and the strategic direction of the city. That's what your job is. It's the city manager's job to do the execution. Chris Robertson, because she's a control freak, he's trying to basically control the minutia of the city. Don't establish this as a city council. Listen, we are not going to get involved in anything that is either race-based, that is not based on merit, or that is ethnic-based or race-based or your sexuality-based. We're not going to build any 50-foot statues for $250,000 to someone's homosexuality. We're not going to do any of that crap. What we're going to do is provide the St. Cloud citizens and residents the best damn city services in the history of St. Cloud. That's what we're going to do. That's your job as the elected councilman. It's not your job to worry about the details of what all they're doing. It's not your job according to the charter. It's not your job according to the statute. So what he's doing is the opposite. He's trying to get the attention. He's trying to show everybody that he's in control of the city, and it's just wrong. He's doing his job wrong. He's doing the wrong thing by wasting all this money, trying to get in front of the cameras over and over and over again, having these special meetings. He's basically showing that he's not ready for this position as much as he demanded to have it.
Yeah. I mean, these special council meetings, I don't know what they're costing the taxpayer, but having them over and over again, and having this one especially, the last one, which was a nothing burger, which was just to have a vote to subpoena these employees, which are employees that they see day in and day out in City Hall. These are employees that they see in the hallways. They can go to their offices. It's not like these employees are hiding from them or can't be seen. And there were other ways to go about this besides the way they did the special meeting tonight. They said they wanted it for transparency so that, we didn't have the city employee telling one council member one thing and another council member another. We have tools to prevent that from happening. You could film the conversation. You could record it. You could have a stenographer there. There are a number of different ways to make sure that what is said to you is the same thing that everyone else gets to hear.
You could do it on paper. There's only one reason to drag somebody in on subpoena and ask questions at a city council meeting, and that's to create the show of it. It's for spectacle. Otherwise, you do it by paper, right? I send you an email. You have the attorney send her a list of questions, and then she answers the questions. She has her attorney review it, and then she sends it back to you. You don't have to, nobody, and it's in the record. It's on the record by that, right? It becomes a public document. So it's not. You only have a meeting like this because, number one, you have to vote. And number two, you want it for the public record. You want it to be in front of everybody. That's not something that needs to be in front of everybody. You might as well just tell us what it's all about then. No. If he didn't care about wasting money, if he cared about the people and transparency, he would tell us, what are you trying to do? And he would just tell them, my intentions are A, B, and C. Instead, he's trying to act like they're all Doge friendly.
Yeah,
the city of St. Cloud does not want transparency.
It looked like he was fishing tonight. Do you know what I mean? He was fishing for something, but it resulted in nothing really. BECC still got their $10,000. I mean, that's not changing. He did say that if he had known all the details about having to add extra staff to the Pride event at the ranch, that he would have voted no on it. And he made that clear at the council meeting. Whether you believe him or not, that's a whole nother story. And
he said that it was going to be the greatest of all time. And he said that he says one thing on Tuesday and something else on Wednesday. Stop trying to be the
it's
spectacle
a lot of
yourself.
double talk, a lot of double talk coming.
He wants to be a spectacle. I think that he's drunk on the attention.
Yeah. And all of this really stems from the fact that Sean Fletcher went to the Orlando Sentinel and said what he said, putting them in the spotlight and having the LGBTQ and the far left coming after them in the media. And they did not like that, especially when, our organization called attention to what they were doing. And, anyway, we called attention to what they were doing, and people went there and spoke out. They didn't like that. They had to try and protect their conservative cred and do what they did. And all of this is a result of that. This is not.
They look like feckless amateurs. These guys look like feckless amateurs. The questions that they asked, the comments that they were making, it just.
Every time Ken Gilbert opens his mouth, he looks like a complete total goof. I mean, it's really embarrassing for the city when you hear this man, when he's talking, he asks questions. It's just, I know he's a smarter man than what he portrays there at those city council meetings, but you would never know it from listening to him. You would never know
I
it
think
from
that
listening.
these are people that they try to hide as much as they try to show. They can't be themselves. They're uncomfortable. They can't vote. They're so worried about what people think about them. It's a big charade. I mean, they look like amateurs. It comes through. Instead of just do the right thing, man. It's super easy. Do the right thing, go to bed at night, and that's it. You wake up the next day, you try to do the right thing again. They don't. They're trying to play all. They're trying to be all to everyone, right? You had Ken Gilbert saying, "Oh, I can't wait for this gay pride event. Gay pride is the greatest thing in the world. I can't wait to go to this gay pride event. I'm going to dress up in the most beautiful dress ever," whatever. And then what happens? And then he sees people, right, that are completely against it. He's like, "Oh, I really regret saying all those things. I don't feel good about saying those things. Give me a break, man." Okay, so basically, depending on the audience, you're going to change your tune.
No.
That's not what a man with integrity does. Okay, listen. This has been a liberal county for a long time. I got up on that school board meeting and I said we should be doing this. We should be doing the whole chaplain thing, which was the last thing I did. Right, chaplain. We need prayers in schools. We need this, blah blah blah, whatever. Getting rid of the porn in school. You know how many liberals I had to deal with? You guys know it. A lot of you guys would come to the school board meetings. There were liberals like crazy. I would get the calls from liberals. I didn't chase the liberals down. I didn't insult them. I didn't do whatever, but I never changed my tune. And it allowed me to sleep very well at night, ignoring what they said. So the point is, just do the right thing. Instead of looking like an imbecile, do the right thing.
Hopefully these special meetings are over with now. This council can get back to doing the business of the people instead of the business of protecting egos and credentials. We'll see. We'll see. I know that one council member even said tonight that they hope that this was the end of this. So, Oh, and one other thing I want to clear up. At the last council meeting, this last special council meeting, when they voted on complying with Doge, there are quite a few individuals, and I've seen this throughout Facebook, that are confusing this, thinking that Doge is coming to St. Cloud. No, it is not. What they voted on was to comply with the state's Doge. And that was recommended to them by their lobbyists so that they can ensure that they receive their funding and the governor doesn't veto it. It has nothing to do with Doge actually coming to St. Cloud or them doing an internal audit of the St. Cloud city, funds.
And they would never do
happen.
that.
No, it's not happening. All right, John, I think we've done enough damage for the evening.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you watching. Please like and share the show. That matters. So thank you very much on my behalf, former school board member John Arguello, my great friend over here, citizen Tom Lord. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great night. Happy July 4th. Happy birthday, United States of America.
Safe Independence Day.
Keep all your fingers, and let's see you next week.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I was entertained, to be honest.
I think it is rich beyond measure. The fact that a school board member that has tens of millions of dollars of conflict of interest before this board has the courage to come up here and talk about anyone's behavior. If anyone should be ashamed of themselves, sir, it should be you.
And I'm in favor of you being able to speak your mind, no matter what. That's how we get, remember when we were kids, right? And you had a problem with somebody, and then your dad would kick you out to go fight with that kid, and then you shake hands, then you go home, and then you become friends.
Disgust when they're trying to, take this word and give it meaning that it doesn't have.
Our entire country needs to go through a fasting. You see all of these new age hippies, right? They're constantly fasting. They're doing starvation diets, or they won't eat for this. What is it called? Like some kind of
intermittent fasting. It's not just us, and not just fans of President Trump, MAGA Republicans. We're not the only ones